things. And then another thing I want to address, and y'all can address this after basically Black speaks. But I have noticed the generations before us, and even now, due to shame, they don't tell the truth. They have all these lies about how these children came into the world, and if you don't tell the truth, you can't heal from it, and you can't grow from it. I tell the truth about my situation. I was married to the man, and he didn't do right by our seed, and he wanted kids, and I waited for years before we had kids, and he didn't do right. So you never know, because I know that y'all was talking about you knew this man, you knew this. Just hear me out. Everybody's situation is not the same, and I understand y'all probably not applying this to me, but that's my situation that I went through. But that's what I have to say on that. As far as
Yeah,
what I'm personally doing in my home and in my community to teach people to go a different way. And I also let women know, because I had a woman tell me, "Oh, you finna get a fat tax return because you have kids." I'm like, that is nothing to be proud of. I mean, you shouldn't want to have kids for no tax return. Where is this
they doing it.
ideology coming from? That's
They doing it.
crazy. Do you I had to let them know, you don't even see the internal scars that I've endured for raising these kids. I'm the type of female, I never wanted to have a child out of wedlock, and definitely didn't want to be a single parent. I frown upon that, but this is my situation that I'm in, you know what I'm saying, and I know that uh I'm doing what I'm supposed to do in spite of what happened. I'm supposed to be taking care of these people to a certain point in their life, a certain way. But anywho, basically, Black, what's your
Yeah.
solution? What's your
And
resolution for what's going on?
I'm gonna just shut up because listen, I'm the childless one here. I'm the young one, so I can't speak on the whole
Yeah,
how the
and let
children
me
are
tell
brought.
you, it was devastating to know that a man wanted children, always wanted children. I waited years before I had children with my ex-husband. We had a child. He had a son, something he wanted, and he was not right. And he didn't do right by our child, nor did he do right by me. And I didn't know that that's what I had married to.
Yep.
So
So all,
it's
all
just
three
different for
of
everybody.
you in here, all three of you in here are divorcees. You have children, so I'm gonna let y'all do the talking. Go ahead, Black Jesus.
So what I've done is the way that I look at raising children is that children are their own people. We don't get to decide who or how they're going to be or what choices they're
Yes.
going to make. It's
Hmm.
our job to, support their strengths, to, try to help them to recognize and build on their weaknesses, and then to give them the information that they're going to need to navigate this world, right? And as it pertains to family, which is also very closely related to character, because your
Hmm.
character is made manifest at its highest level in your family,
Mm.
right? Because those are the
Hmm.
people you love, those are where the emotions are highest, those are the people you deal with the most, and those are the people who are counting on you the most, right? So it's made manifest at the highest level in your family. Is I teach two concepts for men. For my young boys, I teach being men of character. Okay. And a man of character is a man who runs his decision making through his principles, morals, and values. Principles are, or your values are what you believe is important. Is it
Hmm.
honesty? Is it hard work? Is it being trustworthy? Is it consistency? What is that? Right? Those are your values. And then your values turn into principles. Those are the rules you make up based off your values. Honesty is important to me, so I will not lie, right? Or it's wrong to lie. That's a rule you make up. And then your moral is what you're going to do with that rule in your life. I'm not going to lie, right? I'm going to do
Hmm.
my best to speak the truth. And so each
Hmm.
man gets to choose what his values are. And then based off of those values, he has now a code. And then every
Hmm.
person is in a struggle against short term satisfaction and long term fulfillment.
Mm.
And so, how
Hmm.
often a man chooses his code over his gratification and satisfaction, right? Men have two major holes that suck them away from their own righteousness and their own honor, which is satisfaction and gratification, both tied to ego, sex, money, all of that stuff. How often a man chooses his code over gratification, satisfaction is his level of honor. It's whether or not
Hmm.
that's an honorable man. That's how his honor is made manifest. Does he honor his code? Is he who he says he is what that boils down to, right? Does he have
Hmm.
principles, morals, and values that are guiding his decision making? Can he articulate that? Is that who he says he is? Right? And how often is he that person versus the one who makes all the mistakes? That's your level of
Mm-hmm.
honor. So that's what I teach to my boys. With my daughter, I teach virtue, being a woman of virtue, a virtuous woman. And a
Mm-hmm.
virtuous woman has chastity, modesty, and temperament. Her
Mm-hmm.
chastity are the rules that she has for somebody that she'll allow access to her body. Under what circumstances? It's all the rules around access to her body. Modesty is how she presents herself to the world. All her rules around how she presents herself to the world. She's in control of her image and how she's seen. She chooses whether or not she is going to sexualize herself, thereby attracting that type of attention from men, right? And then temperament is what she believes about how she's supposed to treat other people. Is she loud? Is she disrespectful? Is she sweet? Like, how good is she at relationship, right? So those are the three things for women. And those things help a woman to maintain her value. Her virtue is directly tied to her ability to maintain value. And that value, right? She can trade it in. Her whole isn't gratification, satisfaction. Her whole is validation. Women who have high body counts have sex for validation. Women who have
Mm-hmm.
pictures online of themselves half naked are doing it for validation. I don't care what you say, that's why you're doing it, right? So women's struggle is validation, right? Trading in
Mm-hmm.
their actual value for validation. And men is gratification, satisfaction. They trade their honor in for that. And so that's what I teach. Men of character want to marry women of virtue, and every woman wants to marry a man of character, a hardworking, honest, loyal man who has some direction in his life and is trying to do something positive and good with his life. So the way that we are going to fix this in our community is to reset the priorities. And right now the priorities are I'm single, I'm independent, I don't need a man, chase the bag, city girls up. The men are already shaming actively, right? Guys who are running about, making babies out of wedlock, your Nick Cannons, your futures. Men make no excuses for these men.
Right.
We don't. No man
Mm-hmm.
of character is making excuses, but women who claim to be virtuous are making excuses for women of no virtue, co-conspirators,
Mm-hmm.
and the single childless, the out of wedlock childbirth rate problem that is being perpetrated by both the men and the women in our community. You cannot give them a pass. So we have to change the narrative. The women have to go back to all of the stuff that really made y'all goddesses, not the amount of attention you can get because God blessed you so much with all that body, right? All that sexuality, all that passion,
Mm-hmm.
right? That y'all gotta hold each other accountable, and that
Accountable.
is not what happens, unfortunately. But if we can get y'all doing that, there's enough men already that are on the right page. You got to keep in mind, 82% of the men are not part of the baby mama problem. They don't have children
Mm-hmm.
outside of wedlock or they're single and childless. So right now, our problem is 60% of women have children. And of those 60% of women who have children, 72% of those have children outside of wedlock. And that's a lot of women. That's a lot of our mothers. More of our mothers are having children by men that they did not marry, who are not taking care of other children. And then it's crazy. It's something damn near like 60% of women who do have children outside of wedlock have a baby by another man outside of
Mm-hmm.
wedlock.
Can I say
So,
something real quick?
so
Go ahead, Mr. Bina.
Because I gotta hop out soon. But I just want to put a little tidbit out there for any ladies out there that don't have any kids. I'm gonna show you a glimpse of what it looks like real quick. So everybody knows about the pandemic. Prior to the pandemic, I have a beautiful 11-year-old girl, just creative, beautiful, and she always had like little emotional issues after me and her dad split up. Pandemic happened. Me and the kids were trapped in together for months, and it started to really affect her. In October of 2020, she tried to take her own life. I had to get her committed. Within a couple of weeks of that, after that, while she was still in the facility getting help, I had to get major surgery on my throat, and I could not speak. I couldn't eat. I couldn't really do much of anything. And I was home alone in a brand new place with no furniture with my 12-year-old son, who had to dote on me and set an alarm on his phone to take medicine. And then he had to answer the phone whenever she would call from the facility. because she wanted someone to talk to and I couldn't talk to her. And I'm doing all of this without a father figure in the house. And I was actually married. So if this is
Whoa.
the outcome from a marriage
They better
that
know.
went wrong,
Hmm.
then what can you imagine the outcome going to be for you sleeping with a man on the first night, letting them shoot up the club? And
That's
this
why
is just
the
this
spike
is
can't be
just a
just
one.
placed at the woman's feet. It's two
Yeah.
people. That's
Well,
how we
no,
heal. We acknowledge. Yeah, we acknowledge what
and I
both parts have done.
yeah, and I acknowledge both sides, but this is what I'm saying as far as that is I'm saying is that even when you do everything right, there's a chance that the outcome can still be poor.
I
So
agree.
why purposely walk into the situation
Yes.
with all bad decisions, because it can be even worse. And luckily I was married. Luckily I have an amazing in-law support system. I mean, his brothers, his family, his mama is amazing. He just the bad apple on the tree. But
And Mr.
I'm
Bina,
now, huh?
listen, I know we got on the baby talk, y'all. Mr. Bina has to go really soon. Mr. Bina, if I could just get like 7, 8 more minutes of your time, because I
You're
have
fine.
what I have on the screen. Like I said, because this is gonna spark a lot of conversation. I know a lot of women. I know a lot of y'all. Some of y'all may have been disagreeing with a little bit of what she's has been saying here tonight, but I know there's some of you that have been agreeing a lot with what she's been saying. So, with that being said, you made comments. You made comments on the stream yesterday, about your views on submission and submitting to a man. Um, I'm not even gonna, in the interest of your time, I'm not even gonna play like what you said in this like 3 minute clip up there. There's 4 parts. If you haven't watched the video, go on my profile and watch the pinned video right now. But I would just like you to elaborate, elaborate one last time. And I wanted to hear what the woman had to say about, what you had to say in these clips. Cause I already know what reaction is going to get tomorrow from the world. But, on my platform, I wanted to hear what the woman had to say about what you said. So if you could just, speak on what your views on submission are again, and then, yeah.
Um, so I mean, we were basically talking about, honestly, I came in when someone was talking about submission and the worthiness of a man to get submission.
Yeah.
And do I believe that you have to be a certain caliber of man for a woman to submit to you? Yes, most definitely. But
Mm-hmm.
it should not be tied to the monetary value that you bring into the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
A woman should not say, I'm going to submit to this man because he can pay all the bills. That is not how that works. Because what you're saying is that the moment he loses that job and he says, you got to go back to work to keep us afloat, until that means he no longer gets to be treated with that respect and being submit to, because now you have to pay bills. Monetary value does not equate to a level of a man's provisional status in the household. What a man brings into the household, how he provides, protects, how he leads, is broken down into many categories. So you can't say that the money is the main reason why you're going to submit to a man, because money comes and goes, but leadership is consistent. Protection is consistent. So long as he's got two good arms and two good legs, he's gonna make sure that you are safe. So long as he may not have a job, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna make sure you and them kids got food to eat. He gonna make sure that the roof ain't got a hole in it and you ain't gonna be drowning and you sleep when it rains. He's got all them other titles, so you can't just say, I'm only going to submit to a man that's only going to come in and pay all the bills. If it's 50-50, then we're going to be equal. We're not going to be equal. He's still going to be the head. I'm still going to be the submissive woman to him, because that is the household dynamic you need. And women don't understand that and submission is a dual part in a way. And what you don't understand is this: when you submit to a man in a way, he submits back to you, and not in the same way you submit to him. He submits to you by giving you like, you don't understand us. When I was married, um I wasn't a submissive woman, but when I got into a relationship after we got divorced and I was able to be submissive and change and be the correct, I got everything I wanted. I didn't even have to ask for nothing. I didn't have to cry. I didn't have to beg. I didn't have to nag him. If I said, "Hey, my oil light came on," That was it. I never had to remind him again. He's not a child. He's not my child. I'm not his mama. And that oil would be changed within a couple of days, if not the next day. He kept
Bina,
gas in my car. Hmm?
Bina, I have a question. Was it something about your ex-husband where you couldn't submit to versus when you did submit? Was it
I was ill equipped to be a wife. I got married at 18, and I never knew I never saw a positive relationship in my entire life. So I went in like most women, being negative, and I learned quickly that that's not how that works.
thank you for
So
your
that's
honesty.
why.
Okay.
You're welcome.
And
Mm-hmm.
then
But
Mr. Bina, really quick, I need to play
mhm.
this because because this gonna cause more conversation as well. I just want to play this 3 minute audio. I don't even know if it's fully 3 minutes. I I just want to play this and hear what the woman had to say about what she had to say here. So here it goes. But I'm instilling that in him, and I'm not causing rifts between him and his father. I'm allowing him to have father figures in his life and all the different things that is needed to grow these young men up. But when you're starting at young ages, already emasculating him, talking to him disrespectfully, not allowing him to grow, not allowing him to have the nurturing and guidance from the male figures that he needs, you are setting them up for failure. And then when they grow up, you want to complain about him. You created that monster. And a lot of these black men out here that ain't doing what they're supposed to do, black women as mothers created these monsters. So now don't sit here and complain and say these niggas ain't shit. The niggas that you created ain't shit. That's your fault. So now get out there, start doing the work you need to do, and make them better. Start breathing life into them. Start loving on them. Start being the quiet voice in the room and not the boisterous one. You ain't gotta out-talk him. And let me tell you something, I know from experience. Sometimes if you just shut up and let him rant and rave, the guilt and the conscience will eat him alive before you could. Because a man knows when he's hurt his woman. A man knows when he's gone too far or said too much or done the wrong things, and he's gonna pull his own coattails. You ain't gotta do it for him. You ain't gotta be the man. And let me tell you something, sweethearts. Submission is gravy because dominance is ghetto. Ain't nobody trying to be running no household, sweetheart. I ain't trying to be the head chief, paying bills, raising kids. No, ma'am. I want to be submissive. I want to lay at home. I want to watch TV. I want to go to the gym when I want to go to. I want to be able to have brunch with my friends and do the things I want to do and not be clocked by no damn job because my man's got the bills. But that comes with a task in its own. It's not free. There are responsibilities to that, which means it ain't hot dogs and chicken Alfredo out the can. It's getting in there and cooking for your man. It's getting there and tending to him, being his sounding board, listening to him, catering to him, loving on him. If you don't want to do that, you do not want to provide it. Point blank, period. A man can only reach the plateau that you push him towards sometimes. I'm sorry, girl. You know, in them comments, girl. I'm a call. Hi. Hi.
I hate hearing my voice played back.
How are you? I'm, frustrated because this. How are you? Okay, so just breathe. I'm just for comic relief. Girl, you know that man is out there working 6 12s and I'm in bed cuddled up with my favorite stuffed animal on TikTok Live. You know? Because we what? Submissive. Hey, we love it. I'm just saying, like, it wasn't my turn. This conversation is very detrimental because we have generations coming behind us. And all of us talking about what the problem is and no one's doing anything to put the work in that's creating solutions, you're making it worse. What are you gonna tell your daughters growing up? Mr. Dina, go ahead, elaborate. Oh, Mike, you want to say something?
This is Vada, Black Jesus. I don't like what you said to me.
Mark, I
Oh,
ain't playing
Lord.
with you.
I was just playing. Hey, but really, I
What's up,
think
Mike?
what's up, bro? I think a big part of this that nobody's talking about is the dishonesty. We talk about it in different ways, but the dishonesty that has destroyed so many men's life that they cannot help but to talk about this. And then with showing the facts and statistics and doubling down on a lie. Oh no, that's not true. It's the 3% of Pookies and Ray Rays. That's it. All of y'all men are like the Pookies and Ray Rays. Like,
Right.
look, lies have destroyed our community. So when at the detriment of our people and trying to save our community, this is how you respond to us. You doofus. I'm sorry. But it's really stupid and childish to like say some of these things that come with these different ideologies when what we have on the table is, hey, let's fix something. No, it's the men too. Come on. That like that's your best response. It's elementary and it's foolish. And we need to find women who aren't on that type of timing. Because I mean, honestly, a lot of people I feel like are stupid as the day is long, and they're still attacking our people. And if we're gonna get somebody to have our back, it's somebody who could have these discussions with us. If you see somebody answering this childish and this foolish, and they're preaching hatred of men to other women, imagine what they're telling their children that they're guardians over.
Who are you referring to? Spewing hatred on men, as far as this
I'm
panel.
And
I'm
I was
saying it's
confused.
a
I'm about
lot
to
of
say, I
women
said
on
next thing.
TikTok. It's a lot of women on TikTok, and then when we talk about it, who is it? Everything gets personal, like you don't see it. Like what do I have to feel crazy? Like I'm the only one that sees this content scrolling down the FYP?
No, it's just when you speak, you do have to prove your point when asked.
I mean, but if I'm not throwing any spears at you, like I mean, maybe that's all women understand is if you're saying something totally like if I say your mama, then you'll start listening to me.
We're having a conversation, and we want to be brought into what you're saying and what you're seeing. You have your own mind.
So
So
let me
I
ask this
mean, I'm
question
saying
then.
what I'm saying. It's like a lot of
Let's
times y'all respond with, so are you saying, no, I'm saying what I'm saying. Listen when I'm saying it. That when men are saying something, and men are mostly saying the same things who've had all these same experiences. They're speaking out. It's not just Andrew Tate. It's not just Kevin Samuels. It's the us men behind the scenes like, hey man, you need to talk about this because a lot of us going through this.
yes, but when you're speaking and all that, getting you, we're here to get an understanding. Do you have a problem with explaining yourself?
I mean, it's like y'all have a wall up. How do you understand with a wall up? It's like it's like
okay.
we
So
have
No.
to
hold
we
on.
have to take baby steps through every subject.
And I want to have dialogue. It's not going to go one way. You know what I'm saying? We want to understand your mind. And so if we're asking you a question, why are you so defensive about it?
Okay.
Well,
So
Why would I be defensive with when there's stats and statistics backing
no,
up what I'm saying?
my name
It's
is
like women are the only ones in denial about it.
my name is Demetria. My not stats. This is my first opportunity
Uh,
to hear you. So I would like to create a
I
dialogue,
feel you.
and understand where you're coming from. I just don't want you to be
I
defensive. You're not on this platform.
I feel you. I have no need to be defensive, especially when this is information that we can share and both look up together.
Yes.
We
Okay.
could discuss it like adults, but the information is out there, and I think it would be more productive for us to look it up together versus just arguing based off feelings about it.
You definitely have a strong feeling about it. You're contradicting yourself because the way you came in was wrong.
I don't have any type of feelings about it. Like, come
You,
on,
you, you okay? You have a
let's
wall.
just assume that you're not a psychologist, okay?
No, let me ask you this, Mike.
No,
When you say
no, I'm just saying when we have discussions, it's like this sign language that comes up. You're this, you're that. Like, if we shouldn't label because I'm very creative and colorful, especially with cuss words. Now, if we're labeling each other and we're
is
getting off on that respect,
ex-
then you're gonna really feel the type of way.
who is you?
We no, I'm just saying you
Okay, I left. What were we
if
talking
you're
about?
making
What were we talking
statements
about, Carla?
if you're
Oh,
making
Let's get back.
statements and
Yeah,
comments toward me that are personal, when
let's
I
get back
start
to the topic.
throwing them back, don't start
No,
feeling like, oh, he's crazy.
own words. No, I'm trying to have dialogue. That's my
This is
stance.
ludicrous.
No,
right.
so we
Okay.
my
So
question.
hold on one second. Hold on one second, love. So check this out. I think what Mike is getting at, and I don't want us to fall down the wrong hole because I think
Yeah,
we are
we're
having a
here
lot
to
of
do that.
productive
We're here to
dialogue.
talk about the. Yeah, we're here to have a dialogue
Yeah,
and talk.
I think.
I'm here
Yeah,
to
I
make this.
think what Mike was getting at is that the men, for the most part, we all feel like we are constantly being gaslit. And I think the reason we feel that way is because we know that you girls are seeing this content too constantly, hundreds of thousands of followers, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of views, some of them millions of views, massive content creators on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of it. And the women, their message is the same. And so we know you guys are seeing this message where it's like it's all on the men. And we also know that you ladies are seeing men talk back using data, statistics, and numbers to say, okay, look, this is statistically not in reality. This doesn't exist in reality. So you're being exposed to the same conversation we're being exposed to. However, when we talk about the women's side and what has been produced on the woman's side, and you can stretch back, the men have just become vocal over the last couple of years. You can go back 50 years of the women having this conversation with the world about the men. And when we refer to that, most of the time, the women respond with incredulity. It's like they don't know what you're talking about. And so it drives you a little crazy as a man because you're like, I know you're seeing this too. So when you act like you don't see it at all, and you treat me like I'm being crazy and say, oh, well, I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe those are just the women, blah, 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 blah. It's disingenuous and it makes us feel like you'd rather be right, not you, but those that response that the person would rather be right than have a real meaningful dialogue. And then the whole time we're being told that we can't have the dialogue. So it's just a little, it's maddening. And we want to move past that point where we just agree on objective reality. We have a problem with women being born or children being born out of wedlock. Men contribute to it, women contribute to it. And it seems to be more a problem with the female narrative than the men because there's so many less male participants. So we have to fix it. And we can't make excuses for these women. They have to be made co-conspirators, and you girls have to shame them. Women who talk about these women, you can't keep labeling them pick-me's and shaming them for
Facts.
saying that something is wrong that is obviously wrong. And that's what we're seeing. And treating us like we're crazy when we talk about this isn't going to make it go away. At some point, we've got to have a dialogue.
Yeah, it's just like the white folks, if you will. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell which white folks are white supremacists, but if there are a group of white folks out there fighting for us, you could say, okay, those people aren't white supremacists. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to us men and women who are trying to recreate a black community and a strong family structure, it's like you're either family or you're anti-family. When we have these discussions, if you're not for it, it seems like a lot of times you're part of the problem. Because if we have discussions a lot where we're getting no progress or very little progress at all, it's like, what is that doing for the community? Because the children are hanging in the balance, just like these family situations where the man and the woman is fighting, all the while the child is hanging in the balance, while
Yeah,
the man and the woman aren't fighting as a team together for the child.
Yeah, and
it
like so the guys are getting their pages canceled. Like my page is being canceled, and my message is marry before you carry, men of character, women of virtue. You know what I'm saying? That's I spent a lot of time trying to talk to young men to get them to step up. I got two videos that were banned where a woman who's a follower of mine reached out to me and asked me to make a video on the topic for her sons and they banned the videos. Like women are actively, and I'm not blaming this on you at all, but obviously you don't know. So I'm telling you, women are actively trying to shut this message down. And when I have conversations with other women of our community, they are anti family openly. They say, well, two men can do it, two women can do it. Sure, they can, but I'm talking to you about the black community. What does the LGBTQIA fight have to do with why you are having babies with Pookie? What does
right.
racism have to do with that?
Uh,
What does colorism
honestly,
have to do with that
honestly, there
personal choice? And
They
that's
are
the type of conversation
reiterating
we're getting back.
feminist rhetoric. When you hear
It's
that
crazy.
community, they are reiterating feminist rhetoric.
Patriarchy, toxic masculinity. It's all trash. You can't even have a conversation with them about anything. They're too busy trying to talk to you about trans men. Now, I'm not holding any of you ladies responsible for that, but maybe you don't know that this is what the men of character who are showing leadership in the community are getting. And even when we talk to the good women who are trying to do right and have tried to make good decisions in life, like you ladies have, we're being told that the women are victims and not co-conspirators. And that dog isn't going to hunt anymore. The men are drawing a line in the sand. Either
Right.
you're going to get on board and you're going to work with us. This isn't a negotiation. We are telling you guys, hey, this is how we're going to do things. Work with us because it's all to protect you. You said you're the least protected group of women on the planet. We heard you. That's because you're unmarried. So let me tell you why you're not getting married these days. So we can get you with a good man. And I'm going to work on the men. I'm going to tell them how to stand up and be men so that they can take care of a woman. Because I want every black woman to be protected.
Man,
I
Black
want every
Jesus.
black woman with a good man who will live and work and fight and die to protect that woman and his family. That's what I want for you. So why are you canceling somebody like me?
Yeah,
What
and
sense
Black.
does that make?
Yeah, and Black
because
Jesus.
that means
It's our same. Before I let Miss Sabina speak, because I want Miss Sabina to speak on what she said in part three, because the topic here is submission. But Black Jesus, is interesting to me that our same black women that say they're the least protected are the same women that are saying on a daily basis that they don't need us. So make it make sense to me. Go ahead, Miss Sabina.
um as far as submission goes, I just um kind of forgot what I was gonna say now.
You
I
in the
feel
last,
like
yeah,
this, like I feel like, you want to seek someone that is going to encompass all of the things that is needed in a household. And I will say this, as a single mom and who I was married before, I will say I did not know just how pivotal a role a man plays in the household until we got divorced. Um and even he still didn't play, we weren't 50-50 by no means. I was the breadwinner actually in my marriage. He rarely worked, but he I still realized that there are certain dynamics, like what I told y'all earlier about, like, without my with when I went through with my children and with me going through surgery, just to have that extra bit of comfort. It's not always about the money, it's not about the bills or anything like that. It's about the fact that in that trying time, I had nobody there for me. You want somebody that can be there for you, who can be the rock, who can stand up for you. And these women are fighting so hard to have this independent lifestyle, and I don't want to be submissive unless he's paying all my bills. And if
right.
we're going 50-50, then we're 50-50. But you don't understand, 50-50 of a household with men and children and stuff is not the same as you think it is.
No, it's not.
It's a lot. That's a lot. It's not really 50-50. It's really more like 100-100. And that's stressful, because you got to think, when you're a submissive woman in a household and your mate is running everything, there's a role that you play as well. And if you're 50-50, you're stressing yourself out. So there's needs that you're going to need to tend to for him that you're not going to be able to meet. Because a lot of the women that I meet that scream 50-50 are women that, and I'm not going to go deep into this part, but they're women that get cheated on. And they get cheated on because they work long hours. Then they got to go home with the kids. And because that's what they wanted. They wanted 50-50. So because of that, they have to do 50% of the responsibilities. And what happens? The intimacy and the love starts to drift from the relationship. And because of that, a man starts to seek that love and that intimacy somewhere else. And then they want to be all bent out of shape, and they don't want to take responsibility for the fact that you want it 50-50. And 50-50 means that you still have to do your wifely duties at the end of the day, at some way, shape, or form. Some type of intimacy for that man. Just as much as you expect him to still cater to you and take you out on dates, he wants some type of intimacy. But you can't claim, oh, I'm too tired because I had to work and I had to take care of the kids and I had to do all this. You want it 50-50 though. That's what I'm saying. It's an unrealistic dynamic. 50-50 is unrealistic. You should urge to be submissive. If being a submissive woman allows you a lot more leeway, and it broadens the amount of things that are taken off of your plate. The man will assume a more of the responsibilities for the household, as far as paying bills, doing everything. Like, I literally knew a lady who didn't, when her husband died, she didn't even know how to pay the light bill, because she had never seen a light bill the entire time they was together. They were together 25 years. Never even, the lights got cut off. Actually, that's exactly what happened. She was like, "Shit, I didn't even know the light bill was due." She knew that they had lights, but it was she never paid them, because that was the lifestyle that her man made for her. But she did not get, when she met him, she was the breadwinner. She was a nurse, and he was in school to be an architect, and she submitted to him, and she treated him right. She gave him 8 kids, and they had a great life together. So I don't think putting provisions on submission, making submission monetary, is a good look for women. And I don't feel like you trying to, fight against the whole submission thing and say, well, I want to be 50-50, because women look at submission as slavery, but you don't understand that in a way a man submits back to you. And you won't really understand it until you've done it, until you've submitted to a man, and then you understand that he submits back to you. There's a way that he's going to deal with you that's going to be different and more intimate, on the way he deals with you, and the way he addresses you, the way he comforts you, because he's submitting to you in his own way, in the same way, shape, or form. But when women
Yeah.
hear the word submission, they make it sound like it's disgusting, like you're going to get abused or something. It's not. It's lovely, actually. You should want that. I
And
don't
I'm
know
gonna
why
I
tell
we
you
agree.
something.
equate that with
No,
slavery.
no, no matter what. Okay, I'm gonna tell you, ladies, something, and it's a dark male secret that no man ever admits to. Okay, even though we may see you as equally important, we don't ever see you as equals.
Mm-hmm.
Men who want to be men, right, realize that they carry a greater responsibility for you than you carry for them. You are not responsible for his life and for his safety. You are somebody I have to worry about, guard, look out for. You may worry about me, but you ain't got to show up and put a hole in somebody. I do. And
Mm-hmm.
I think about that. I sit in a restaurant and I sit on my chair and I feel how light that chair is. Can I grab it with one hand and whip it at somebody if I need to get us out of there? When we go and we sleep at a hotel or we stay at a place, I'm the one that's in between the door and the bed, so that if somebody were to shoot through the door, they would hit my body first. There's a million things that are on the mind of a man that you never have to consider beyond that light bill. And a man will never sit up and talk to you about it, because it's a level of anxiety that we experience the way you experience wanting to protect your children.
Because,
You
like
belong to
Jesus,
us.
can I say this though? Because if we really do
Yes,
a
ma'am.
50-50, then that means one week of the month, the man mows the lawn. The next week of the month, the woman mows the lawn. One week of the month, the man takes out the trash. I'm just saying, like, if we're going to do
Right.
50-50, then we're going to do 50-50. One week of the month, you're going to get underneath the car and you're going to change the oil or learn how. And then one week of
No.
the month, he going to do it. You know, one, one,
Yeah,
one,
I
one
don't wanna.
situation. Look, one situation, the burglar going to break in. He going to run out there. Next time you run out there, he going to be like, all right, baby, I had the last burglar. Yeah, I'll see you when you get back. Because we 50-50, right? Because that sounds
Yeah,
stupid. Ain't nobody about to do none of that.
this 50-50 stuff, if you have a man that's got some character, I'm not talking about some man that's using you, but if you got a man of character and he agrees to 50-50, then he is telling you that, and he is
Right.
thinking and doing something else.
Right.
Okay, because we know it ain't 50-50, and we're okay with that. I'm not complaining about that. I'm perfectly okay to take on that responsibility for you. But with ladies that feel like submission is something that you're purchasing, or it's how you get along with a man, just like it's how you get along with at work, or it's how you get along when you go into a store and you have to wait your turn to get your coffee. There's a process for every single relationship in your life. And there is a hierarchy. There is no 50-50 you have with any relationship in your life. So it's not going to exist. Your household is not exempt from a hierarchy. And somebody needs to be on top. And it is not normal, even though it can happen. And there are women who are dominant and they pick men who are cool to sit, bitch or sit shotgun. And for those women, those relationships work. But you have to understand on a balance of probability, that is not your average man. And if
Right.
what you girls are looking for is to be boss babes, find a guy who outperforms you, then will come home and submit to you, then you
Mm-mm.
are going to continue to not get married. And that we can't have community unless we can get you girls husbands and make sure the men are worthy of it.
Basically, Black, can you address us as women versus girls? But I
Yeah,
agree with
I
what
would
you're
like that
saying.
very much. I would like
I
that very
agree with what you're saying. My sentiments are I'm looking forward to when I get married and my spouse assuming the protector role, hands down. So I agree with what you're saying, and I'm gearing up for it and looking forward to it. But can you address this as women versus girls?
Sure, I don't mind the correction. I'm sorry if you felt any disrespect from that. And then,
No disrespect.
yeah, Melanie moves. If you don't care about marriage, then don't be here. Because we don't believe, and this is what I'm talking about, ladies, what I was talking about where you talk to these women in our community who are anti-family. They think they can
Mm-hmm.
build a community through community organizing, and the
Mm,
reason why is they get to be the director of this chapter of the Black Lives Matter movement and all this other shit. They get some grandiose title they get to give themselves. They don't have to submit, so they don't want family. So women like this Melanie Moves, we got tons of these women in the community, and when we're talking about family and rebuilding the community, you have all of these women who say, you know what, you don't need to get married to have kids. You can have two
mm,
husbands, a mother, a father, or two women, or you can raise the child with the grandmother. All that child needs is love and attention, and that's all they need. So this is what the men are fighting against: disorder,
mm,
chaos, no standards, no accountability, no
mm,
responsibility, blame all men,
mm,
no such thing as boys and girls. And so you have to speak to these women because she hears me as bashing because she's not used
mm,
to hearing from a man. She's my
mm,
daughter. I can correct my daughter. My daughter's 8 years old. When I tell her to do something, she does it, and she doesn't feel like I'm oppressing her because she has a father. So when she goes on and she goes to get married, she's going to understand that her and give when she gives the power over for of her own choice of listening to her husband. She's going to be used to a dominant man who can say yes, no, this way, that way, right? But a lot of these women have never existed in cooperation with a man where they've had to grant him good faith. And so they say, we don't need community. We don't need family. We don't need marriage. We can have kids, and it's none of your damn business, black man. And that's Melanie. These are the
mm,
women that are filling up our community, fighting against family. If you're against family, how are you not satanic and demonic? How
mm.
if you're
Hold on, Black
how
Jesus.
can
Black Jesus.
you
I'm gonna bring her. I'm a listen, listen, listen.
I
Melanie,
want to say, I
Melanie
want
is Melanie is 37. Melanie's my homie. She's very intellectual. So y'all are going to have a good
that
discourse.
noise.
Um, think that's Miss Sabina. Miss Sabina, thank you so much for coming through for me tonight. I very much appreciate you. I always appreciate you being on here. I always appreciate you speaking the real, even if they want to call you a pick me or any other names. Miss Sabina, I know you got to go. Please say your last words. I'm gonna bring Melanie up here, and it's gonna get very heated when Melanie comes here, but we are going to be respectful to one another. But please say your last words, Miss Sabina.
I'll just say this, at the end of the day, I feel like and we were talking about this earlier, black women as a whole, we just need to start having a little bit more honesty when we deal with each other. The sad part about it is that, black women are our own worst enemies. And I mean toward each other, because at the end of the day, we don't tell each other the things because for the generational reason of it, we don't want anybody to surpass us, which I think is idiotic. You should want the next generation to do better than you. So mothers need to be telling their daughters the truth, and grandmothers need to be telling their grandchildren and their daughters the truth because you want them to surpass and do better than you. You shouldn't have the mentality, well, I went through it and figured it out and you should too. No, you should tell them the truth. Set a roadmap. And then
Yep.
on as far
I
as
agree.
friendships go in, you have too many of these boisterous women that want to be out there in these streets, that want to be doing all them little hood rat things, and they don't want their friends to grow up and mature, so they spout all these negative things and tell them all these bad things so they can make the same dumb decisions they're making, so that way they don't lose their friendship dynamic, because a lot of women depend on friends more than they depend on a man for whatever reason that they choose to do that. And at the
Ooh,
end of the
good point.
day,
It is.
we need to, honesty needs to be in between us. We need to tell each other the truth. We need to pull each other's coattails and be honest, just like the men need to do for each other, but that's not our business. Let the men raise each other. Let the men hold each other accountable. We need to hold each other accountable. And so when you come, for anyone that reads these posts that I do and the ones that Noble do on his page for me, just, I don't hate my sisters. I'm disappointed, but I don't
Just
hate them.
not.
I love them. I love them more than anything. That's why I'm telling you the things I'm telling you, because I want the best for you. I want us to mature. I want us to grow. I want us to blossom. I want to walk down the street and see more happy black couples. I do. I want to see that. I want to see love. I want to see positive, happy little children running in their mommies and daddies after school. That's what I want to see. So I need to speak to the people that has that power, and that's my sisters. My sisters have that power to make that happen. Calm that attitude down. Stop trying to be the man in the relationship. Make better decisions. Be more control. Have more control over your womb and your hormones, and make better decisions so that way we can create a better life and community for ourselves. It starts with us. We are so powerful, and I believe that. I believe that we are super powerful, and yet we be acting like we weak and goofy. I don't get it. You can't be both. You got to pick a struggle. I'd rather be powerful with a big burden of my lineage on my shoulder versus being weak and walked all over. And that's
Hmm.
that's all I'm
Say
gonna say.
that.
Y'all
That's
have
my
a good night.
crusade.
Thank you, Miss
Bye,
Amina.
Dina.
Always love. Appreciate you so much. What's up?
All right.